Hello and welcome everyone. I'm your host, Ali, CEO of Node. As our goal here is to share perspectives on the changing digital landscape in our industry. Today's conversation has been a long time in the making. I've been so excited to have Celeste on here since we started this podcast. She's one of my favorites, so let's jump right in. Welcome, Celeste Mastin, President, CEO of H.B. Fuller. Let me give a little bit of background on H.B. They are a global leader in adhesive sealants and other specialty chemicals. Although you may not realize it, HB plays a very critical role in almost every product used every single day. Their adhesives are used in every kind of finished good, from electronics to building materials to packaging and everything in between. A single fact that I've held on to since I've spent a little bit of time with her team is that each sheet of standard toilet paper contains 5 different HB Fuller products. It's these sort of facts and stories that I think the world just needs to know. They're the enabler for everything, the brand behind the brands. Anyway, Celeste, thanks so much for making the time. Before we jump into the conversation, anything more you want to share about H.B. Fuller?
Yeah, thank you, Ali, for having me. And thank you very much for the Digital Innovation Award on behalf of H.B. Fuller. We're really proud of that. As you mentioned, we are the largest pure play adhesive company in the world. Adhesives represent about an $80 billion market. And you said it, we're invisible, but in a very small part of our customers' product, but we are critical to enabling our customers in product attributes and the manufacturability of those products. So we are a 135-year-old company trying to not act like we're a 135-year-old company. We've added a dozen new different technology platforms in the last decade. And we're very focused on lifting our portfolio up to participate in even greater ways in the most demanding applications that our customers have, the most demanding, challenging problems they need to solve. That's where we belong. And we aspire to a 20% EBITDA margin as we continue to do, which will really enhance our shareholder returns.
Look, at the end of the day, their products can't exist without your products. The
Right.
brand behind the brands. Look, I know H.B. Fuller prides itself on being a trusted partner with their customers, and I would imagine it's even more so in the case of some of the applications you just mentioned. This partnership takes the form of collaborative product development to meet their unique needs. Have you thought about how digital can play a role in supporting these collaborative relationships with the customers?
Yeah, it's a great point. We're not a typical chemical company. In fact, if you look at our SKU base, over half of our SKUs are custom tailored, one SKU to one customer. We create a lot of bespoke solutions, and we're introducing 5,000 SKUs a year, new SKUs a year. Yeah, exactly. We have to manage fragmentation profitably. And the way to do that, in my perspective, or one way to enable that, is through AI and through digital technology. So there are all aspects of our business where we're looking for ways to build efficiencies with AI. Certainly, we're early in the journey as it relates to our customer. We have some concepts for transactional execution, improvement, and transparency that relate to this, and also to focus our product development.
Yeah, that makes sense. 5,000 new products a year. You're doing a heck of a lot of product development with your customers. I would imagine you have a select portfolio that's also like readily available standard SKUs, and those are the ones that you probably promote on your website.
Those are the ones we promote on our website. That's true. And in fact, a lot of times, those are a starting point for a customer where they come, so they need to be available. They will come to us, they will start with a basic, and then as we work closely with them and learn more about their specific product requirements, their manufacturing environment, all the many variables, their substrates that can influence the job an adhesive has to do, we then begin down the custom tailoring path. But having that standard product line that's available to some customers that can use that with less demanding applications, And having that available to customers where we're going to build on it is a big part of this.
Makes perfect sense. I know you guys recently did a redesign of your website. Your catalog's now online. And I would imagine the next step is, okay, customer, you've been browsing the site, you're looking at the standard products, but let's engage in a conversation now that you're here.
Exactly. Yeah. Since we've streamlined and modernized our website, in the 6 months since we did that, our total users have increased by 11%. And even more importantly, the amount of time that customers are spending on the site has increased by 22%. We know we're bringing customers in to the right pages and they're finding the information that they need there to meet their needs.
Amazing. Okay, so that's from a website perspective. Are there other digital initiatives that you guys are working on right now?
Yeah, we have all the back-end systems that you would expect a big company to have. We're on a decade-long labor of love rollout with our ERP system. We've got CRM systems, but I recognized we need to go further. And so when I started as COO, I created 2 new executive level positions in the company. One was the VP of Digital Transformation for our customer experience, and the other was a VP of Digital Transformation for our supply chain excellence programs, not just as it relates to customers, but as it relates to operational efficiency. Yes, we've recognized that we need to improve and that AI and digital transformation is the way to get there.
Love it. Speaking of AI, it's obviously top of mind for a lot of different executives. And we've been hearing a number of different use cases for how it could be used. And let me throw one idea out at you that's probably the most common use case, which is the customer comes to your website, they're browsing your standard products. They now want to engage with somebody, but maybe they're not ready to engage your TS&D person, but they just want to be able to ask some technical questions without maybe taking up somebody's time. And so being able to organize all the knowledge across your organization and then putting a very smart chatbot on top of it to be able to answer these customer questions. Is that a direction that you could see yourself going in?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, we are exploring that. It is challenging in our environment, again, because we have 28,000 SKUs, over 30,000 current customers, and we're constantly custom tailoring this portfolio. But it is important for us to be able to harness those questions and take a crack at them early, because it pulls the customer into the recognition that, yes, we are here as a solution provider. And if nothing else, it can get the conversation started such that our team can then take over live and help the customer continue to build out a product that will meet their needs.
Makes perfect sense. Look, I'm no expert in adhesives. However, just looking at the market from afar, I know that there, a considerable number of suppliers, and thus there've been some, acquisitions over the past handful of years. Has H.B. Fuller been active in these acquisitions? And how do you think about bringing these organizations together, especially from a data and tech perspective?
Yeah, we've been very active in the global adhesive market. There are 3 large players, of which we are one, and we're the largest pure play. And then 75% of the market is composed of much smaller companies. And so that fragmentation has led to M&A activity. Now, as it relates to H.B. Fuller, we have what I would call a proactive and proprietary M&A strategy. Proprietary meaning we typically are pursuing acquisition targets that others are not, but that have some special unique technology or market position that we can use to satisfy our stated top 20 growth opportunities. So as we pursue those companies, we've been successful in acquiring many of them. In fact, since I've been here, we've acquired 10 that I would characterize in that way. And we've really built a rigorous integration capability. And within that integration capability, having quick access to those people having quick access to an understanding of our broader technology is very helpful. So we have put in place digital asset management tools. That's been very helpful for people within the companies we acquire to understand what technology now they have access to satisfy the customers that came along with them. That also has been really helpful for our legacy employees, both our R&D technologists and our salespeople, to recognize now that we have this very broad range of technology, everything that's out there to solve a customer's need.
75% is a lot.
It'll keep us busy for a while.
Yeah, I can't even imagine all the different types of niche technologies that are in that 75%, and like being able to bring that all together and expose that capability to all your customers. That's the only way, in my mind, digital is the only way to do that.
Yeah, it really is. And just a couple of examples of our two most recent acquisitions, so we identified in our top 20 growth opportunities that we wanted to pursue more structural adhesive business. And so we bought ND Industries. They had a multitude of technologies, many similar to our own, but a little different, but also a great anaerobic technology and a application and coding expertise. And so you're right, figuring out how we take their product range, which almost overlapped ours, but for the anaerobics, and then introduce our team to that anaerobic technology and seamlessly provide that throughout the organization has been enabled by this journey.
Mm. I'm used to hearing about massive fragmentation on the customer side, and yours, I think, is way beyond the scope of most chemical companies, just because who doesn't need adhesives? But then this much fragmentation on the supply side as well is super unique. That's why there's probably a lot of distribution in this market. So let's actually talk about distribution for a second. I know that you have pretty extensive experience on both the manufacturing and distribution side of this industry. How have you seen the dynamic evolve between the suppliers and distributors over time?
Yeah, it's always an interesting dynamic. And at H.B. Fuller, and companies approach it different ways, certainly. But at H.B. Fuller, we view our distributors as customers, and we treat them that way. Of course, we expect them to help us build out our brand and to serve our joint customers. And we know that they have needs of us. They want us to be transactionally easy to do business with. And that's one area through digital transformation in the supply chain where we are utilizing those capabilities to make that happen. They also expect us to provide insight about our technology and its application. And that's something we do regularly and pretty proactively. But it is that being transactionally easy to do business with that does matter to a distributor, and where I see this initiative really helping those relationships.
Yeah, distributors are certainly your customers, and probably even more than that, they're probably some of them are strategic partners. And I think that there is an untapped opportunity out there to bring producers and distributors a little bit closer together to go meet customer challenges in new ways. Yeah, I'm really curious to see how tech sort of evolves that relationship over time.
It does. And then, so we've talked about customers and we've talked about distributors, but we can't forget raw materials either. Again, we're working with
your suppliers?
Yes, my suppliers. We're working with a huge raw material supply base as well, over 30,000 distinct raw materials that we're buying. And 87% of those are specialty chemicals. So these are materials that are not readily available. On average, when you formulate an adhesive, about 10 different raw materials go into one formulation. So there's a lot of, yeah, it's amazing. So there's a lot of complexity on the formulating side and on the supply side, on our supplier side as well, that AI and digital transformation is going to play a role in helping us simplify.
The amount of complexity.
We're not really a chemical company.
Yeah.
We're much more of a formulator. We're more of a coatings company, frankly, than a chemical company in the true sense of the word. And I think as a consequence, our digital needs and our need for AI takes an even more pronounced role because, again, what we have to do is manage fragmentation profitably. And these are tools that should enable us to do that.
Yeah, for sure. With a business that's this complex, with that many suppliers, that many raw materials, that many customers, whoa.
It's incredible.
Applause to your team. And now I better understand why you've got a digital leader on front of the house and one on the back of the house.
Yep.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, as we wrap up here, any words of encouragement you want to share with employees of H.B. Fuller, especially those that are working on some of your digital initiatives?
Yeah, so our employees know that in our industry, speed wins. It's getting the customer a solution faster than anyone else that we really hang our hat on. And so because speed is what wins, enhancing speed is critically important. And digital technology and AI are ways to enhance speed. So this work is incredibly important to H.B. Fuller and our customers. This work will make us even better, even more dynamic, and an even more successful company in the decade and next 135 years to come.
I agree with you. Node spends a lot of time in lots of different markets. We've got lots of different customers, but from our perspective, H.B. Fuller is leading the way in adhesives and all things in all things digital. I'm much more familiar with the front of the house than the back of the house. You guys have raced out ahead, and I applaud you and your team for doing that. And there's no doubt that customers are going to respond to this. Look, Celeste, thank you for your insights. Everyone loves listening to these informal conversations, especially from people like you that help shape our industry. Thank you for everything you do for the industry, and let's just keep pushing it forward.
Let's push it forward. Thanks a lot, Allie.
Thank you, Celeste.